people will respond to someone that's a temporarily nice in that format where they're like, okay, he's just said something nice to me. Something shitty is about to happen. Okay, so I'm 100% sure of that.
Welcome to the Masks Off podcast, Leadership Strategies, No Disguises. I'm Razwana Waheed, and together with my co-host Olivier Larvor, we talk to the smartest people in the world of leadership, change and psychology to give leaders real strategies to bring human back to the workplace.
If you would like to support our show, please subscribe to our channel, like us, or share this episode on your social media.
Your book, Nice Guys Finish First, the title intrigues us. Tell us a little bit about that.
In corporate world, corporate America especially, you don't have to be a tyrant at the leadership helm in order to be successful. Nice guys finish first, at least from the cultures that I've seen in my environment. It really is all about showing gratitude, empathy, being a leader that gets things done with your followers, not somebody that tells people what to do instead. So for me, Nice Guys Finish First was all about building better relationships so that you can build a better business.
So have you worked with managers or leaders in the past that have not necessarily been very nice?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we all have, and we all hate to work for those people. You know, the issue is that who wants to follow a leader that rules with an ironclad fist? For me, I really wanted to have a relationship with the person that was leading me. I wanted to make sure that I understood the direction that they were going and that I could relate to them. I just felt like in order to be a leader that was actually getting things done, you'd want the people to hang out with you. You know, I'm not saying socially they have to hang out with you, but don't they want to follow your instructions rather than follow you by fear and intimidation? They'll follow you because you actually are a leader that they want to get to know and they want to do better for. When I lead a company or when I lead an organization, it's not about people focusing on me. I want them to focus on successes and wins that they can achieve. And that's the best way to not only to win for your entire company, but to get people to stay with you even longer and longer. And that's the best part about it, when you can get somebody to hang out with you for a long time.
Actually, you touched on something that I hear a lot from new managers. So these people typically are promoted because they're good at their job, not necessarily good at managing people, which happened to me once as well. Only once, though, because then I started my business and I was done with the corporate world. But
right.
And what they consistently say to me is, I don't know how to draw a line between being respected and being likable. Because if I spend my time being likable, then I'm just a pal and no one listens to me. But if I spend my time trying to be respected and trying to tell people what to do, then I'm one of the guys they hate because I'm just the boss. So what's the fine line between the two?
Well, what I would say is be human. If you can be a human being and you can just be yourself, if you feel like you need to rule through intimidation and that works for you, I'm not saying that you can't win that way and your organization isn't going to win that way. I just think that there's many more people that will follow you is if you lead through gratitude, empathy, compassion, catching people in the act of doing something right as opposed to catching them in the act of doing something wrong. I think that for me, if I'm going to be with that organization, I won't take a client on that leads through intimidation. It just doesn't make sense to me that organization, the culture that they've created is through fear and intimidation rather than through gratitude and appreciation.
You just mentioned these words, compassion, empathy, gratitude. What does it look like in real life? How can leaders do that? Can you give us examples?
An example would be, instead of criticizing someone and sharing with them the things that they did wrong, how about share with them the things that did right? I find that people tend to want to do things for you as a leader when you catch them in the act of doing something right, being respectful of somebody's time, showing up on time. I joked with you guys that, hey, I appreciate you being early. I mean, nobody's early. Leaders feel like I'm going to show them I'm the leader. I'm going to make sure everybody is in that room and waiting for me so that when I walk in, I can make my entrance. And my feeling is I want to be in that room first before everybody gets there, so I'm prepared for those that I am leading to show them by example, being on time, returning my phone calls, returning my emails, returning my text messages, being on time every time. I mean, you're not doing them a favor by being their leader. They are doing you a favor by following you. And if we approach leadership that way, I think that you're much more likely to have an organization that will follow you to the nth degree and really create a great culture within your organization as well.
We had this guest, Maxi Crowley, and he wrote this book, Lead from the Heart, Lead from the Heart. He told us during the podcast, every time he says this sentence, people they roll their eyes and they say, no, it's not possible, because we are talking about feelings. And feelings, as you know, sometimes it's very hard to express your feelings inside the organization. What's your take on that?
Well, there's no doubt that there is resistance. And I would say the majority of the resistance comes from older leadership, leaders that were raised in the 60s and 70s and 80s to be leaders, because that was the tactic. It was ruled by intimidation and fear. Nowadays, it really is more about relationships. I think that we are in a world today where so many people and so many things are exposed through social media that we need to understand the importance of a brand is not just your company. You are your brand. Even personally, as a leader within an organization, they are looking and seeing everything that you're doing through Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. They can follow your personal life and your professional life too.
I remember this manager in my company, he said to me, he was Russian actually, he told me, I cannot be nice, because otherwise they will take advantage of me. If you're too nice, they will. So is it a belief that we all have that people are badly by nature and they're just waiting for you just to bring down your guard, just to jump at you at your throat? Is it what we have as a belief?
It's a very cultural thing. And I think that people think that nice is a sign of weakness. Nice makes you a yes man or a woman. Nice puts you in a position of being a subordinate rather than a leader. And I would say if you show being nice, that skill set inconsistently, I would agree with you. I would say that if you show it in a position where you're always looking to get something out of it, like I just said something nice about you, so this is what you need to do correct next time, I would say, yeah, it may be an issue. If you're consistently nice, if you're consistently showing gratitude, if you're consistently in a position of having a positive attitude, there are so many things that make up nice that the more you do it, the more people will be attracted to you. It really is not something that is a sign of weakness, but actually can be a way that you can run your organization.
When I was in my early 20s, one of my first jobs, a colleague came up to me and said, God, my manager's just served me a shit sandwich. And I was like, what's one of those? And it was that horrendous 90s feed map model where you say something nice, give them some constructive feedback, and it's essentially something awful, and then say something nice to finish it off so they feel good. And I think those formulas, when they're delivered from a place of inauthenticity, if that's even a word, they then become, people are filled with skepticism because they know that they can see the formula being used and they can tell that you're not being authentic. You said that, are you being nice because you've got something else that you want to get out? I'm being nice to you so you can be good to me. I think often some people mistake being nice for just, if I show you that I'm a good person, then you'll be a good person in return. And they do get walked all over because they're nice to the wrong people, I would say. Often there are some employees that need not a heavy hand, but they need a different type of communication. Some of them will respect you for being a good person. Some of them will just take advantage of it. Have you ever come across a situation like that where your level of nice, or the type of nice that you are being, is different depending on the personality that's in front of you?
People will respond to someone that's temporarily nice in that format where they're like, okay, he's just said something nice to me, something shitty is about to happen. Okay, so I'm 100% sure of that. If you're consistently nice, if you're consistently following those actions, if you're consistently showing attitude, empathy, compassion, if you're consistently checking out people, trying to find them in the act of doing something right rather than doing something wrong, you'll find that all of that disappears. It really is about consistent action over a period of time, no matter what the environment is, no matter what the culture is, and no matter what you're facing within an organization. If you can consistently be that leader that is on time every time, shows up, with a positive attitude, is a leader that leads from the heart, like you said earlier, that leads with love. If you're consistently that person, it's impossible for somebody to say this is a weak person. It's just not going to happen. I mean, I've been running organizations this way for the last 30 years, and I've run my own company this way. As a matter of fact, when I take on clients, if I don't sense that my client is this way, I have the right not to hire that client. I don't look at people just because they have green and they're going to pay me. They have got to fit that mold of who I consider would be a model client as well. I surround myself with the people that I think I want my organization to be. And when you do that, there's going to be some weeding out of people within organizations that I go in and consult that no matter what we do, I just cannot change their mentality from, there's givers and takers. And if they're always going to be a taker out there, it's going to be very challenging. I want people to be givers within organizations. And those are the organizations that win.
Somehow it's very difficult, though. I'm really attracted to what you say. And I would like this to be truly the case for every company. Imagine leading with love. Can you imagine that? That will be so cool. But today, as you know, it's very stressful, very difficult. The economy is changing. The challenges, transformations, digitalizations, innovations, the stress that every people have, and sometimes the fuse is very short for managers. What's the advice here? What can we tell this manager to say? Look, it's very nice in theory, but I have objectives. I have my freaking KPIs. I have this deadline to meet. I cannot be nice. I need to have the whip.
It starts with upper management. It starts with leader. It starts with the highest leader. It starts with the CEO of the organization. If you don't get buy-in at every level, including the top level, this will not work. You can't get buy-in from somebody that's mid-level and have them be intimidated and ruled differently from their leadership and expect that mid-level manager to treat their employees or their staff and their frontline people any differently than that upper line management. It comes from the top line down. And I agree with you. It is a challenge. There are some clients that no matter what, when I go in and talk to their organization and talk to them about customer service, and they look at customer service as a department rather than as a philosophy within an organization, when they don't empower their front line or anybody in their organization to make decisions, and all mid-level and upper management, the C-level makes all of the decisions, and we just have our little pawns out there. When you do that, this doesn't work. This doesn't work. Yes, I agree with you completely. Organizations have a tough time with this concept because they are so stuck in the lead through intimidation and lead through all the old school tactics. And for me, it just doesn't work.
So is it a change of generation? Because I agree also with you, but it has to come from the top, from the CEOs. And when the CEO is convinced, this is how it trickles down, and we see this shift in the way that people lead. So how do we convince the CEOs then?
It's a matter of telling them and showing them. The CEOs that lead through this old school set of circumstances or tactics oftentimes will not believe anything unless there's ROI attached to it. If you can show them that the bottom line is directly affected by powering your front line to make decisions, that this management style, this nice guys finish first mentality is something that actually can improve their bottom line and improve the relationship they have with their shareholders and their stakeholders within their organization. When you can prove that, those guys are maybe more willing to take a second look at it.
What examples do you have then, Doug, of businesses that have had, the majority of their leadership have been leading with an iron fist, and then they've adapted their attitude to a more respectful, nice attitude? What impact has that had on their business?
You can show organizations examples like with Tony Hsieh with Zappos or Southwest Airlines is the example of leading through, nice guys finish first mentality. Those are companies that ultimately will win through this skill set of being positive from the leadership down. I mean, even organizations that have, defense contractors with the U.S. government, that lead through this process too. Although there is a ton of administration and policies and procedures that they have to follow, the organizations and the departments that do best are the ones that empower their employees to make decisions. Can I point to organizations that I've worked with? Absolutely. I mean, the ones that are out there that are key are the ones that handle the customer experience is everything, because that's really what it all translates to is how well are we treating our customers. If our customers feel loved, respected, and honored, then the organizations will win that way as well.
How confident are you with the future, actually? How confident that this way to manage will emerge as a way to go? Because, when we always ask the question of organization that manage differently, and then we always receive the same answers. It's always Zappos, Southwest Airlines, we have Bozok, we have, all these companies which are very famous for. I'm just waiting for a new name. I'm just waiting for this trend to catch on and everyone. So I'm just yes, it takes time, but I'm so impatient myself. I want this to go. So what's your opinion on that?
While those are the most visible names, there are thousands, if not tens of thousands of organizations. Joe's Plumbing Supply right down the street from me. The mechanic from Cardi's Garage handles things differently. My local 7-Eleven, while 7-Eleven may not institute this policy, worldwide, my local 7-Eleven handles it. McDonald's in Pikesville, Maryland, where I grew up, I can I can name dozens and dozens of examples of organizations. The car wash that literally is down the street from me. It does not have to be from an organization that's the size of Zappos and does $1 billion, or Amazon with Jeff Bezos' company. It can be the small company that delivers my lawn care service. It's just in how I see them be effective leaders. I do think this is the way of the future, because nowadays social media and technology has created such a small world, because it's so easy to share negative experiences and it's so easy to share positive experiences nowadays on social media, that it's almost hard to avoid that. People, they want to be exposed in a positive light, and the best way to do that is just by being nice to your customers and your employees. It's that simple.
You're also a specialist, an expert in podcasting and maybe in social media as well. So I can see still organizations struggling, especially big organizations, struggling with this social media, podcasting. How do we brand ourselves in all this? And they handle this very badly. So maybe, do you have a small advice for them?
Sure, I would tell you, you want to put your most visible person on the front line. That's somebody that you want to represent your organization and your brand. And the best way to do that is just treat people. Let's go back to what I said at the beginning of our conversation. If you're just a human being, and I had a dispute with my credit card company, and the more I was disputing this charge through an 800 number in an automated service, I was realizing that I was talking to somebody that was basically reading a script on the other side of the phone. And by the time I was almost done with the phone call, and I was sensing that I was not going to win this quote unquote this argument with the script reader. So I said, hey, can you just do me a favor? And his name was Jerry. I said, Jerry, can you just do me a favor? Can you just, for the next 60 seconds, can you just put down your script and pretend that I'm a guy just like you are, that has 2 kids and that is trying to just make sure that I'm protecting the money that I'm spending. And this was a real dispute. I said, I just need you to just be human, just for a few minutes. Yeah. And I think it wasn't until that moment that he realized that, man, he really just was reading a script. I think that sometimes we just need to shock people into understanding that, do you go home and you read a script? Do you go home and you're an asshole to your wife? I mean, why do you have to be this way? Yeah. You don't have to rule your company this way. You want to make sure that you are kind, you're compassionate, you're a human being. Treat somebody like they're your kid. You're trying to impart some wisdom upon them, and stop working so hard to be a miserable lech. And when you say that to somebody, it's like, some people get mad. Some people get upset when I tell them something like that, and some people are like, I respect that. I really apologize. I didn't mean to. I was not trying to approach that from that perspective. So I would say podcasting is the same way. We've done 510 or 12 episodes or whatever it's been. By the time this airs, probably about 550 episodes of our show. And I've discovered that when we started to be ourselves and to really be genuine with our audience was when our audience went from 5,000 to 10,000 to 1 million plus. It was when we really started to be legitimately honest and open with our audience. And I think that that's how you have to be with an organization. If you're open and honest with your organization, I said it before, you lead from love, you lead from the heart, like you said earlier, your company is going to win, and it's going to win big. And it is the way of the future. If you don't think it is, just, okay, so see what's going to happen in 20 years. Will your organization still be here? A lot of it will be due to the culture that you've built. So I would just prefer to be a part of a culture that is a positive culture to be around.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Once again, if you would like to support our show, please subscribe to our channel, like us, or share this episode on your social media. Merci.